Now will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. And there's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Last time, here we go. There's a better home awaiting. Everybody. In the sky, Lord, in the sky. You guys sounded so good.
Thanks for coming today. Basically, the Town of Rochester Historic Preservation Commission just came up with the idea that we wanted to shed some light on the history of the canal which runs through our town. I'm sure many of you have walked along the rail trail from here to Kerhonkson, and we've been talking about it, and we just wanted to shed some light on it. Everybody knows that, well, most people know that coal was shipped down the canal, but we wanted to give some other examples of items that were shipped down the canal as well. We did our best to make it historically accurate. Some things we need to find some more historical items for that. But yeah, it's just really a conversation piece for everybody to discuss. And we have that, and we also wanted to bring a mule. We know mules were big parts of the canal, so we have a mule here today. Just for example, for people to look at and kind of feel what it felt like to be, two mules pull the canal boats. So we have one today, but traditionally two mules were used to pull the boats.
Actually, one until 1850.
One until 1850,
Yeah.
thanks, Bob. Appreciate that.
Sorry, but
And then we have a couple speakers, and the brainchild of this day today was Wilton Duckworth here, and Wilton has a couple things to say.
Hey there. Well, I mainly want to introduce, a very important person to the history of this town, who's sitting right over here, and most people know him, who've been here any time at all, and the people who don't ought to know him. He's such a wonderful, warm, fatherly person. It's Jack Schoonmaker. Jack's gonna tell some stories about the canal from his family and things he knows about the canal.
Well, anyway, back in college in Alfred, when I went to school back in
It's working
1951,
now, Jack.
just move the chair over.
Please move the chair.
Along with the ag classes, I had to take English, chemistry, and so on and so forth. And my English teacher was Mort Block, and he had some things for us to do before we graduated. And one was to give a speech. And I gave a speech on my report card that had an F. So I probably shouldn't be up here now, but here I am. Anyway, I enjoyed listening to the music this morning and hearing about the canal. There's a couple things maybe I could mention that sticks in my mind. Do you know why the canal was built? Anyway, back in the 1820s, supposedly can you hear me?
Yep.
oh yeah.
Every stick of wood was cut off of the Catskills and the Adirondack Mountains from Montreal to New York. And there was nothing left for fuel. They had all this coal in Pennsylvania. It was anthracite coal, hard coal, and they couldn't burn it. Didn't know how to burn it. And I don't remember the gentleman's name. He was from England. It wasn't bituminous. Bituminous was a soft coal, wasn't it?
Yep.
But anyway, soft coal, you could put coal on top and it would burn from the top. But hard coal wouldn't. And he developed a stove with a grate with updraft, and you could burn the coal, hard coal from the bottom. And that's, and anyway, they had all this coal in Pennsylvania, and how are they gonna get it to New York? First thought was to go down the Delaware to Philadelphia, back up the eastern seaboard to New York State, or New York City. And then the Wirtz brothers got the idea to build a canal. You probably all know all this, but anyway. Build a canal from Holmesdale to Kingston. Well, it was Roundout then, it wasn't Kingston, it was Roundout. And I heard a statement this morning, it was, but supposedly, I heard now, this was the first $1 million project in the United States. Now, I don't know if
That's correct, Jack.
that's, is it?
Yep. Raised it all in one day on Wall Street.
More than that.
Really?
Yep.
One day.
But anyway, supposedly, and the stock market opened at 12, or at 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 seconds after 9, the $1 million worth of stock was sold. Well, I don't know if that's true. That's what I thought.
The lore tells us by 2 o'clock, but certainly very quickly.
It was very successful, and I guess the canal was very profitable through all the years, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the maximum number of boats was 600 at the peak,
Over 1,000. Sorry.
over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they widened it, what, 3 times? or so?
They deepened it twice, widened it once in 1850.
But anyway, that's a little bit of sticks with me about the canal. But our family, big family,
You can take a seat if you want.
settled here in 1680. I am the 10th generation. I have a grandson and a great-grandson here, and their mother and a great-granddaughter. They are the 13th generation to live on our farm a mile from here. And I think, don't quote me now, but I think we are the second oldest family farm in the United States. Wow. There's one.
What year did they start farming, Jack?
Pardon?
What year was it when they started?
The farm?
Yeah.
1680.
All right.
The first Schoonmaker came over in 1640. And he settled in Port Orange, which is now Albany. And he had 2 wives and I think 13 or 14 children. And his son, my ancestor, was ousted from the church in Port Orange because he owned a gin mill and he wouldn't close on Sundays. He flew out of the church. But anyway, I am the 10th generation to be on our farm, and I said, got, thank God, 2 children here, 13 great-grandchildren. You know, and there's seven of us family that live within a half a mile, just a mile from here. But the canal was very good to the Schoonmaker family. The canal ran about 50 feet right behind the house, and there was one tragedy in about 1865. My great-grandfather was drowned in the canal. He was driving a team of horses, and something spooked the horses and went over the bridge and through the ice. Anyway, he was deceased. But my great-grandmother, Louise, his wife, had a store in our cellar. I don't know if you can read this. Well, this is a bag that sugar, flour, salt used to come in. But this is 138 Mrs. L. Schoonmaker, P. Jackson, Fort Jackson, which was actually her God. This was shipped to her. This has been in the house for years and years. But anyway, as I say, she had a store in the cellar, sold to the canalers, and I'm sure the the farm grew oats and hay for the mules and horses, and I'm quite sure they harbored the mules and horses over the winter in the barn. And so the canal was very good to our family. And then of course the railroad came. And what else can I tell you? I think that's about it.
What does your farm grow today?
Excuse me?
What does your farm grow today?
Grow?
Yeah. What do you have?
We, what crops? We grow sweet corn, tomatoes, melons, pumpkins, strawberries, raspberries. Up until about 10 years ago, we had roughly 300 acres of sweet corn. And previous to that, we had around 500, but we had about 40 customers, roadside stand market customers down in Bergen County, New Jersey, and they've kind of dwindled. So now we grow about 300 acres of soybeans and field corn. And labor's getting hard to get. To harvest the fresh vegetables, fruits and vegetables. Well, thank you.